This is DC, powered by people and ideas, where the community comes together, voices are heard, and decisions are shaped.
So I want to start by saying, welcome home.
Connecting you to what matters and to each other.
How you doing? You know, what's the tea?
I'm Lorenzo Hall, and this is the DC Beat. To the DC Beat on this Wednesday, I'm Lorenzo Hall. So yes, because of ranked choice voting, a lot of people are still talking about last Tuesday's election because we have a lot more clarity, especially when it comes to the DC Council. So pharmacist, Ward 8 resident, and DC Shadow Rep Oye Owelewa came out on top in the crowded at-large council race to replace Anita Bonds, who is retiring. After 8 rounds of voting, you can see right here, he received nearly 35% of the vote, or in this case, after those rounds, he got close to 52%. Here's what he told me last week on the DC Beat.
But none of this was ever planned. You know, it was one duty that became the next one, and we just try to work really hard to build off of that. In terms of just trying to be effective, you know, there's never been an at-large council member who lives in Ward 8. Yeah. There's never been a healthcare worker or a pharmacist who works on the council. There's never been a child of African immigrants on the council. And it's not just me being on the seat, is all of us being there. So really trying to bring the community approach, bringing that teamwork involved, and also being willing to be that person that people can lean on is something that I wanted to bring forth to the at-large council space.
All right, so another race everybody was watching, the Ward 1 council race. You can see here, after 4 rounds, Upper Naraj is the winner in this Democratic primary contest with nearly 52% of the votes. So Raj is a communications manager for a progressive policy advocacy group. She posted on Instagram thanking her supporters and calling it an honor to be the Democratic nominee for the Ward 1 council seat. She will face Republican Jet Jasper. Now, Raj identifies as a Democratic socialist, and so does the Democratic nominee for mayor, Janice Lewis-George. Here's the reaction Lewis-George got when she mentioned that point during her watch party last week.
We are Democrats, independents, and Democratic socialists.
Raj and Lewis-George were both endorsed by the Metro DC Democratic Socialist of America. Owelewa, we know, is a longtime member. So look at this right here. Axios DC has a piece out today with the headline, DC's socialist era is coming. So what is a Democratic Socialist and what will this mean moving forward? Chair of the Metro DC DSA, Curtis Hagans, is at the table with me tonight. Good to see you, Curtis.
Good to see you as well. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start with that question, that answer. What is a socialist? I think when we hear, oftentimes people hear it, it sounds like the boogeyman, there's something bad, we should watch out for something. How are you defining this?
Yeah, a socialist, in the simplest way to put it, is someone who believes in expanding democracy to all facets of our life, to our workplace, to where we live, to our communities, and of course at the ballot box through our government. So
I take, you heard the reaction there at Janice Lewis-George's watch party. I take it you were reacting the same way when she said that. What does this mean when you have a major party candidate embracing democratic socialist values?
It's a very big deal. We have seen this before at the Democratic primary stage with Senator Bernie Sanders. But here, seeing it locally is energizing. This is something that organizers, tenant unions, labor unions, and of course socialists have been working for the last 10 years, if not more. And so seeing it actually start to take fruition here is really, really exciting.
So what's changed? I think of Zora Mamdani, what's happened there in New York yesterday, obviously here locally. So why is this getting some traction now, more traction than we've seen before?
Yeah, Democrats and Republicans, the establishment, have not been able to offer solutions to the problems that real Americans face every day. The cost of hospital bills haven't gone down. We are stacked with debt. Cost of living has gone up. Apartments, rents has gone up. Cost of groceries have gone up. And either way you go, historically and traditionally, you're getting the same thing on the economic front because the establishment Democrats, establishment Republicans are all friends with the big corporations. So folks are looking for an alternative, and socialism is the alternative. We can work as a working class to establish our own interests and move forward together.
Do you think people understood that in this race for DC mayor? They obviously heard what Janice Lewis-George was preaching here. Her primary I guess, message to voters was all about affordability. Right now, we know a lot of people are struggling. That message is an easy one. So do you think that it really mattered that she identified as a democratic socialist in this case?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know that it was the most important factor for a lot of folks, but folks, when they hear the word, it makes you pause. It's not something you hear every day on the doors. And so you pause, you take a second to ask what this means, and then you see the message, people first. The other thing that's coming out of her camp and out of Aparna Raj's camp is people over profits. And these are things that you're not hearing from establishment types like Kenny and McDuffie, for example. The other thing that's really worth pointing out is you don't get the level of excitement from volunteers that you do without being clear about your values. MDC DSA mobilized hundreds of volunteers to knock hundreds of thousands of doors, and that is all on the strength of her being willing to say proudly, yes, I am a democratic socialist.
So talk to me about that. You went to obviously that made a difference. So what was the big message when you knocked on some of those doors? Were people receptive? Were they skeptical? Did they have a lot of questions?
Yeah, it varied. It really varied. It depends where you are. I will say I had more times this election cycle than ever before where someone saw me wearing a DSA shirt or a hat and saying, oh, Democratic Socialist, like Mamdani? Which makes it really easy for me. But then, you get into the weeds. You say, we want a government that works for you because the government should be of the people, by the people. We don't accept kings in this country. We should expect that our electeds are accountable to us. We don't accept kings in this country. We should expect that our workplaces are not ruled by autocrats like bosses. And those messages resonate with people. People don't like their bosses. People don't like their landlords. And so when we can go in and say, hey, we're going to do what we can.
I like my boss, just for the record, if she's watching.
Same. But generally speaking, that applies. And folks feel, hey, there's an opportunity to expand our organizing here. And they can feel what real power looks like when they start to see wins from a People First campaign.
So people hear the Zohran Mamdani, and during this election cycle, we heard a lot of folks saying, oh, Janice Louis-George is the Zohran Mamdani of New York. How are they different?
I think Janice Louis-George has called DSA her political home, which that seems true to me. She has been a member certainly since 2018 or 19. But I will say Zohran Mamdani came up in DSA. He did his first ever political work within the Democratic Socialists of America. And so it's a little bit of that, like, where are you firmly rooted? But that being said, I think both of them will have similar challenges. So both of them have ambitious visions for their respective cities. And I'm looking forward to seeing what both of them can do for the working people.
All right, so tell me about your effort to get more candidates on these ballots and into office. Obviously that work continues, and I'm thinking of the DC Council in particular because you have Robert White. If he'll have time left on his term as an at-large council member next year. Janice Louis-George, of course, more than likely she will be DC's next mayor. Ward 4, that seat's going to open up. A lot of folks are watching Trayon White's seat in Ward 8. His trial is later this year. So you're talking about 3 seats on the council. Are you all already mobilizing, trying to identify candidates to get on the ballots?
There's some early conversations.
Okay.
It's a matter of deliberative and democratic decision making. DSA as an organization is all about engaging our membership with any decision we make. So the membership will know when we have folks or are looking at folks and want to understand who we should run. That being said, I've had some conversations with folks. I know that our political engagement committee, which is part of the chapter, has been looking at the seats you specifically mentioned, as well as in Maryland and in Northern Virginia, to understand where there might be opportunities in 27 and 28 and beyond.
All right, so we know that obviously the campaigns are a different beast. Governing is totally different. So how do you manage expectations? We know that a lot of what Janice Louis-George mentioned on the campaign trail, it's going to be a tough road ahead, especially in DC. You look at this economy, trying to attract businesses, new streams of revenue. How do you try to manage those expectations moving forward and her ability to deliver on a democratic socialist, those promises?
Yeah. We understand in DSA that there are going to be contradictions, especially in executive office. And we've already seen this play out in New York City. That being said, we expect and want to work with Janice to expand organizing in the district. So even if there are certain commitments that, for whatever reasons, fiscal, political, can't get done 100%, we'll be looking for ways to say, okay, we understand that you can't get it over that finish line. How can we, the working class, help you get it over the finish line? Does it mean organizing X, Y, and Z buildings or X, Y, and Z industries to help you get the political force that you need to push something through? At the end of the day, though, the fact that DC is controlled by the federal government,
Right, I was going to talk about that, yeah.
It presents a challenge. And I think what the working class in the district are looking for is someone who will stand up. Even if we get pushed down, we get back up. We are tired of seeing what the Bowsers and McDuffies of the world are doing, which is just premature compliance, being willing to say, oh, you can work with MPD ICE, go ahead into our neighborhoods. We expect Mayor Janice Lewis-George to say no. We have laws on the books. You will respect us and treat us with the dignity that we are deserved.
If she is mayor, what are you looking at within the first 100 days? What do you want to see her do to show that, yes, this was the right move, this was the right endorsement, you love the path that this city's going to be on?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to her introducing and working with the council on a universal and affordable, ideally free childcare platform in the district. We want to definitely see movement toward expansion of rent stabilization within the district, or at least some way of increasing affordability of housing for working class folks. And then almost more importantly than any of that, we would love to see Mayor Janice Lewis-George on the news, in rallies, in front of working class people saying, organize your workplace. Let's talk about how we can organize your building. I have folks on my administration who are going to be willing to help you organize against your slumlord conditions. If we see something like that, I think there's going to be a really strong positive feeling towards Janice.
So it sounds like not just to focus on policy, but the role of mayor is going to be a bit different too. This is moving into more of an organizing capacity as well.
Yes, yes, I love the phrase organizer in chief. And organizer in mayor office. I would love to see organizer in council office, which I believe we have with Upper Naraj and Oye. And so I'm excited to see what and how Janice can make that happen in the mayor administration. All
right, before we started talking, I mentioned the Axios report talking about the socialism era in DC. What does that even mean? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think that's a good question that we're all kind of asking ourselves. I think it means expanded organizing. I think you start to see people taking a stronger interest in unionizing their workspaces. DC used to be a union town, and in many ways it still is. It is still one of the more heavily union-dense areas. But I think the more folks talk to socialists and about socialists, you're going to hear folks saying, you know what? Why don't I organize my workplace? Why don't I talk to my coworkers? I don't like the conditions that I'm working under. Or same with landlords in their apartment buildings. I think the other thing is a movement towards treating basic necessities as rights and public responsibility, and not just the privilege of few that can afford it.
Basic necessities like what?
Housing, food, healthcare. These things that you need just to even make it day to day, and ideally with just one job. Now, this is a long horizon. I'm not saying Mayor Janice Lewis-George.
Not the first 100 days or anything, okay.
No.
Long-term strategy.
That's right.
All right, Curtis Higgins, thank you for clearing it all up for us in that perspective. We appreciate it.
Of course, appreciate it.
I'm sure we'll be chatting again soon.
Thanks.
All right, so a lot of people also sounding off about the Kennedy Center today. We got these images this week, giving us our first look behind the massive tarp that has covered part of the Kennedy Center for nearly 2 weeks. The photos were shared with us by the group Hands Off the Arts, showing the area where President Trump's name was recently removed following a judge's order. Kennedy Center officials say the tarp will remain in place while crews address maintenance issues. The Washington Monument is about to light up the DC skyline once again. You might remember these projections displayed on the side of the landmark at the beginning of the year. From July 1st through the 5th, the monument will feature the same nightly projection show celebrating America's 250th birthday. And earlier this month, President Trump threatened to, quote, take back D.C. if Janice Lewis-George becomes mayor. Lewis-George called the comments an attack on democracy and home rule. With the election over and her victory in the Democratic primary, Trump had more to say about this.
So we have a radical left communist elected, I guess, soon to be elected mayor of D.C. D.C. is now a safe, you people know better than anybody, it's a safe, beautiful city. When I came here, it was an unsafe, unkempt, horrible city. It was horrible.
All right, so right now, a lot of our neighbors are still talking about the Capitol Pride Parade last weekend and someone who was noticeably absent.
Pride means what? Washington, D.C. coming together to support and protect and advance LGBT. And that D.C. is the gayest city in the world. And World Pride 2025 will be off the hook.
Yeah, so you heard that was 2025. That was Mayor Bowser last year. This year, she was nowhere to be found, and a lot of you reached out to me asking why. Where was she? Well, typically, we know she is present there, marching with her team. This would have been one of her first major events following what turned out to be a devastating election night for many of the candidates she supported. I reached out to multiple people in the mayor's circle, and they would not comment on the mayor's absence. Well, this week and in the days to come, people are also sounding off about the budget, of course, money passed by the council this week. Rafa, he was at the Wilson building for all of that, and he is at the table with me tonight. So, Rafa, we know this is done, but for some reason it doesn't feel like it's actually done.
There's another budget battle. How many times have we had to say that here at the table, Lorenzo? Look, so the mayor made some cuts. The DC Council decided to use $150 million from the city's reserves to fund some social service programs. But DC's chief financial officer says they shouldn't be using that money. He says he could declare this budget, saying that essentially that they haven't met all the requirements. And if they haven't met all the requirements, then that opens the door potentially for Republicans on Capitol Hill to intrude on DC's financial situation yet again.
Yeah, so why this back and forth again with the CFO?
Look, essentially, they've been going back and forth. The council is saying that he's hoarding money. The CFO has been very cautious about saving enough money just in case something were to happen, perhaps a lawsuit from the federal government. The council is staying firm. They're actually seeking counsel from DC's Attorney General to determine how to proceed legally. Again, I don't think they want to go into a legal battle, but if it needs to go there, the DC Council says they're ready, and the chief financial officer is also standing his ground.
All right, so we know Mayor Bowser as well. She urged the council to use this money for social services, and she brought up Janice Lewis-George in this as well, saying that if you don't make some of these moves, she's going to be dealing with an $800 million deficit when it's time for her to work on the budget.
That's right.
She's elected.
Yeah, we talked to Janice Lewis-George about the situation. She says her team's already looking at the budget. She's saying, look, Mayor Muriel Bowser is still the mayor. I'm not tapping in just yet. However, we are already looking at the budget because that is my top priority. And it would be devastating to enter this important role with all these promises with this huge deficit that Mayor Muriel Bowser is warning.
So are we just looking at this legal battle right now, trying to figure out some of what can be used, what shouldn't be used? We're also watching what's happening on the Hill. Is that where it stands as of tonight?
Essentially, look, the budget is heading to Mayor Muriel Bowser's desk. She can sign off on it or not. In the past, she has not signed off. And essentially, it's her saying, I don't agree with what's here. But also, our budget here in D.C. goes for congressional approval. And that's what we're talking about. What we don't want to see, according to the council members, is Republicans saying, well, you can't handle your finances. It's my turn to step in. We've seen it happen with crime and other issues here in the district.
So is that realistic? Do they really believe that? I know we've seen Republicans and people on the Hill interfere with the district's affairs on and off over the last couple of months. So do they really believe they'll interfere with this budget in this process?
They are concerned about it, especially given what you just talked about, those election results, and seeing a Democratic socialist like Janice Lewis-George being the Democratic nominee and obviously the potential mayor in the district. This might be them showing off before she comes in office and saying basically a warning to her administration, look, we're willing to step in. We're hearing the president willing to step in. And as you know, whatever the president says over at the White House, Capitol Hill will follow and will actually, hold hearings and really pressure DC about those issues.
Sounds like they're tired of fighting. They're like, we don't want any trouble. Can we just not?
I mean, yeah, but I don't think that fighting's going to stop. And you've interviewed Robert White, and I think he's willing to put up a fight as well if he heads over as the delegate as well.
Really quickly, too, we know that part of the budget includes funding for open primaries.
That's right. So
that's a change.
Yeah, huge change. Essentially, the DC Council decided to fund the second half of Initiative 83. This was passed back in 2024, approved by 72% of DC voters. It brought ranked choice voting to DC, but we didn't see the open primaries, the semi-open primaries, meaning that independents could vote either in the Democratic or Republican primary. And just yesterday, the DC Council decided to allocate $1.1 million. This means that independents will be able to vote in the primaries in 2028. It's huge. We're talking about thousands of voters, including myself. You know, a lot of journalists who opt not to have any party, just to have a clean slate when they proceed with their reporting. We're talking about military personnel, civil servants who choose to not have a party, so that there can be no accusations that you're doing some kind of wrongdoing for a political party.
Right, and you think about what we talk about: home rule, statehood, being a democratic city, espousing those democratic values, but yet you have thousands of voters who are not allowed to participate in the process. So this will be a change. Okay, Rafa, covered a lot there.
A lot of stuff happening.
And it's not over.
It's not
Thank
over.
you.
Yep.
All right, up next tonight, Chocolate City Relay, the women running DC. 5 women completed an incredible feat this month, running an ultra marathon across all 8 wards in DC. The ladies of the Chocolate City Relay are joining me this evening to talk about the experience. Thank you for being here with us. All right, so we have Brittany Green, Taylor Williams, Jodie Tefera, Naila Ferrer, and Jessica Miller. How y'all feeling?
Hey. Great.
We were just saying the studio, for those of you at home, is really cold right now. So I feel bad for you guys. If you want to do jumping jacks, you want to do a little running around, feel free. I totally understand. All right, so first up, just talk to us. A lot of folks who might be hearing about Chocolate City Relay for the first time. You were established in 2021, so you've been around for a bit. Yeah. How did this all start, Brittany?
So Chocolate City Relay started with the need to create a platform for Black women runners and like really creating a space that celebrates all of DC. So we run through all 8 wards of DC. And then this year we introduced something new where we have the Ultra ladies and they ran a 50K through DC like individually. So it's like,
that's a lot. Miles. So take me back to the very beginning, before you even, like, how did the idea come about? What were you thinking, the name, everything?
So Chocolate City Relay started with, like, obviously we're in DC, so like Chocolate City is really important. And it's a space to celebrate Black women runners and that voice and like their influence on the culture of running. I really wanted to bring us all together because everyone here has like really impressive backgrounds and stories. And I think it's really important to elevate those stories so that people have that example of like what it looks like to be a runner.
Yeah, so talk to me about those stories. Like what drew you to Chocolate City Relay? Why did you say this is where I need to be?
I mean, I truly am very passionate about running. I practice medicine. I take care of a lot of running athletes. And so being able to be immersed in this community with a supportive group of women was a big part of what made me decide to do it. And then the 50K was a challenge, but why not take on a new challenge for fun?
That's a very fun challenge, right? That's a lot of running. I mean, was it the same for all of you? Did you feel compelled to join? For what reasons?
I actually was, in a way, shifted over. I was supposed to be on the relay team. So I went from maxing out around half marathon mileage to 50K, so 32.
What's been the biggest challenge for you guys? I mean, obviously you're taking this next step. This is what you love to do. What do you find is the most challenging aspect?
I think, you know, there's a physical aspect that everyone sees and it's like, oh, it's 50K, that's a bunch of miles. How do you run all that? But I think a lot of it has to do with mental and like your mental, where your mindset is during, before, after, and all of that plays a part in your training and then on race day. And I feel like these women, we were able to run together and really just help each other mentally and just get across the finish line. It took a lot, but we were definitely boosting each other up throughout the run, and I couldn't do this run without them.
Have you all had a race where you're just like, I can't, like I don't know if I'm gonna make it?
Yes.
This one.
I saw it in the eyes, you said it. I didn't know, I was just looking at you because your face was saying it. What is?
This was the first one.
I mean, so how do you, just the first one you said, or?
This was the first race.
Oh, this was the first one.
Yeah, that was like really hard.
So how'd you cross the finish line?
Honestly, the unique experience of having like women that all look like us. We all have different stories, but like we share a why. They definitely pushed me. The elements were really, really hard, but also there were like times where like doubt creeps up and you're like, can I do this? This is such a big goal. This is the biggest goal in terms of like physicality that I've ever had. And so doing it was just like when things got hard, I leaned into her, I leaned into all of them, and we kind of pushed each other.
And we had a great playlist, like our playlist.
Oh, a great playlist. Was there one that was a repeat for the whole group that?
We had more so like a DJ.
I kind of spammed the playlist really hard. I really enjoy, it's not about the words that I'm listening to, it's more of like cadence, so what's keeping me on pace or what's gonna speed me up, slow me down, keep my heart rate consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of like threw like 80 songs on the playlist. So it was kind of washing out everyone else's music.
So how do you keep going in this process? I mean, obviously you're going to continue to challenge yourself. It's clearly not easy. So for all of you, just what is that motivation? What keeps you coming back relay after relay?
I think for me, it's striving to be the best version of myself. This, like signing up for something that seems somewhat impossible or very difficult, and then accomplishing that brings me so much, like, I don't know, happiness that I just want to continue that. And so in the next thing that I decide to do, that's what I think I'm looking for most.
This experience was unique because we actually got to run through a lot of the trails, and that was new for me. And so I feel like it kind of opened up the world of trail running. And so I'm excited to like do new trails, whether that's in DC, out of the country, wherever. But it was just such a new experience that I'm excited to embark on.
What about you, even as the founder?
I think for me, it's like a little like combo of things. I really just love bringing people together. I love seeing like the relationships that bond and the way people now have someone to like lean on and support them through big goals. So for me, doing the relay every year or like doing any goal every year is like, who can I bring along with me and who can I bring into the fold so that they don't feel alone.
What do you think this says about visibility, the importance of that aspect as well, especially in our community? People who see you running and are clearly curious about what this is. What does this mean? I mean, obviously it's more than just what you're doing, but for the community as well.
I think when I first started long distance running, I did like my first marathon before the pandemic, and there weren't a lot of Black women running. There weren't a lot of Black distance runners in general. Like a lot of races you show up, it's not really anybody there that looks like you. So the reason why I decided to run a marathon is because I saw someone that looked like me running out in the street. And they were like, yeah, I'm running the New York City Marathon. And I was like, oh, I want to do that.
Oh, you're Miss
So,
Competitive. Got it.
So, and like I always say, like running in the community, and this is part of why I love this race, is because we really ran through the different communities in DC. And I think just getting out there and showing people like you can do this too, and seeing it for themselves, it can motivate people. It motivated me back in 2019. So I think that's why it's important to just get out there.
And that's what I love about this group, because you're in all 8 wards. I mean, typically you see the runners downtown, maybe in Georgetown here and there, but you're everywhere. How's it changed you and your view of the city?
Personally, for me, I grew up in Virginia and I moved to Maryland in like 2010, but my mom is a DC native, so I really did this for her, just to see more than what she's shown us growing up. And it was actually very emotional for me because we were running through a lot of areas that I've already seen that are part of my childhood, and it's kind of like mind-blowing to have to like honestly now sit back and like be like, wow, we did that. We ran all 8 wards. We were all the way up by the zoo, and then we somehow made it back. And
somehow,
it really was like a somehow, because like Jess said, this was the one that really took it there.
Yeah. Your final message to some ladies who might be watching right now.
I will say do hard things. Personally, I was the one who, I will say, undertrained for the distance. These wonderful ladies are marathoners, ultra marathoners. I'm a half marathoner. I haven't gone the full distance yet, so I will say, like, don't let, and now I'm an ultra marathoner. Don't let big things like that you think are unattainable really scare you, because you can literally do anything you set your mind to. I kept telling myself you can do it even in the moments I felt like I really could not. So just keep doing it.
Any parting words, Ms. Founder?
I'm just really grateful for this crew, these ladies. They took on a really impressive challenge, and also one of the things that's so special about Chocolate City Relay is the community. So the relay team were supported by runners and our guys that aren't featured in the relay. They were there to support us. And even when we went through the aid stations, everyone from the running community really just loved on us and helped us get us there. So I'm really grateful for everyone that's always been a part of us.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chocolate City Relay. We'll be right back. All right, so a high note this week, a big welcome to DC for AJ DeBonta. The Wizards selected the BYU star with the #1 overall pick. The 19-year-old arrives in the NBA as one of the most highly regarded prospects in recent memory. It was also a historic night for the franchise. This is the first time the Wizards had a #1 pick since John Wall in 2010. So hundreds of fans packed the anthem at the Wharf. Look at this to watch the moment the pick became official. Our Marshall Kramsky, he caught up with AJ just moments after he was drafted to talk about what this milestone means to him and what's next in Washington.
You said you wanted to be the #1 pick. How did the hope compare to the reality?
The reality hit way more. Obviously, I was hoping to be the #1 pick for months now, after declaring for the draft. But I mean, the reality was just super surreal, and having to spend it with my family and my godparents, it was great.
When you think back, obviously you're in the heat of it right now. What's the moment you think you'll remember the most from those seconds after you hear your name called?
Probably just that, just the seconds of me hugging everybody and just telling everybody I love them, and just dapping up everybody, and it was just crazy. That whole 2-minute spread was just insane.
To reach the point where you are, you've had to dedicate your life to the game of basketball. To hear that it's not the end, but the next marker, that you've made it. You did the #1 pick. You did it.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's the credit to all my hard work that I've done in the past, but like you said, it's just a stepping stone. I have a lot of work to do. So I'm going to celebrate it tonight, but I'm going to have to go in the gym in a couple of days and just get right back to work. It's a whole new game.
All right, the consensus first-team All-American averaged more than 25 points per game, becoming the first freshman to lead the nation in scoring since 2018. Cannot wait for next season. All right, coming up next on the DC Beat, the legendary band UCB. You can see them right there. They are setting up to take the DC Beat stage. But first, they're going to join me right here at the table to celebrate 21 years of their hit song, Sexy Lady. All right, we have to talk about an incredible moment for DC culture and music. You heard by now pop star Lizzo sample UCB's classic song, Sexy Lady, for her new album, which dropped earlier this month. So UCB is in the building tonight, and they're at the table with me. Rock Mikey, DB, Bo, good to have you at the table.
Lorenzo, what's up, man?
For the record, I don't think we've had this many people at the DCB table before. So this is the first, a true round table. Y'all have been keeping busy.
Yes, indeed,
that's a good thing, yeah?
Indeed, it's a very good thing,
Yeah, you have Wale, you got Lizzo. We'll talk about all that in a minute, just in terms of, these collabs and what you're trying to do to keep things going. But first, I want to talk about just go-go in general.
Okay.
I feel like growing up here, it had this stigma early on, 80s, 90s, and now we're just seeing it, the tide is turning, if you will. It's obviously the official music for DC. What does that mean for you guys?
Oh man, this is a real thing, man. DC, go-go has been going on for actually longer than 50 years for real, but to see where it's at now, I was a kid growing up with it back in the 80s, you know what I mean? Yeah. So to see it from bucket bands with Junkyard and OP Tribe, my guy Scooby and them, but E back in the days playing out on the plaza, the front plaza and stuff out like that, and to see where it's at now, this man, it's definitely a big change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A big cultural movement for us.
So tell me about this movement we're seeing now. Obviously, Lizzo I mean, that sort of changed the game as well, right? This collab you have with her,
no doubt.
Sexy Lady. I feel like we've been listening to that forever.
21 years.
So when I heard it, I just heard, I don't know, I guess I was scrolling, I heard the sound, I didn't even realize it was Lizzo. I'm like, but it sounds familiar. And I'm like, that's what it is. Tell me how this all came about.
Oh man, Sexy Lady came about 21 years ago.
Yeah.
But with Lizzo, the situation happened with a good brother of ours, man, that just happened to pass away, I believe, yesterday. So rest in peace to my guy, Take Keith.
I'm sorry.
Producer who produced Sexy Lady with Lizzo. He also produced Beyonce, Before I Let Go, Sicko with Travis Scott. So, you know, he was a young fire producer, dope producer from out of
Tennessee.
Memphis.
Tennessee.
Memphis or Tennessee, some part of Tennessee. But yeah, man, he got a hold onto Sexy Lady from a relative of his that went to attended Howard University. They let him hear Sexy Lady. He fell in love with the record.
Man.
He got a chance to actually meet Trey, the one who sings Sexy Lady on the hook, and Wale in a studio session in Tennessee. And asked, can he, you know, fool around with the track. This was back in like 2024.
Yeah.
We got a call like end of 24. I got an email saying that Lizzo Camp want to sample Sexy Lady. Do I approve? I said, yeah.
Was that instant? Were you like?
I approve.
I didn't get to think about it for
I know. Hey, it's instantaneous,
I read the clauses and everything, but yeah, I approved instantly, and the rest of the writers approved instantly. Trey, Eric, Rashad, shout out them. We on the record on the album Sexy Lady, track 8. You will see us as listed as writers, so it's official. And we all approved the record, and I mean for her to sample it, and then it came back like maybe a year later, and she approved it. She actually put it on the album.
Man.
So
It cleared.
yeah.
And how have things changed for you guys since then?
Well,
We were talking before we started our
10,000
show.
followers.
Yeah, you guys are following.
followers went up. Followers been up. A lot of love in the city, though. We've been getting love in the city, but it's a lot of love in the city because I be going around, you know. A lot of people show me love. Congratulations, you know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Sexy Lady, long time. Like I say, 20 years of Sexy Lady. So people from the city been hearing it 20 years ago.
21, right?
Or
21,
21 years ago. So,
It's like
so hearing it again now by Lizzo, they like, man, good job. I always been there for y'all. Congratulations, y'all deserve it.
Yeah, appreciate the flowers. We love the flowers, DMV.
Absolutely.
We love the flowers.
And
Appreciate you
DB,
guys.
we know with UCB Live, you're trying to keep this going and sort of this, new generation? UCB?
It's a new iteration of UCB. I mean, it's the same feel, same flavor, but just a little twist to it. You know, we have a lot more, I would say, introspective songs. You know, and our writing and our production is like really amped up now. So, you know, we're using horns. We have a lot more, you know, structure to what it is that we're doing. So, not saying that wasn't structured, but once again, Sexy Lady is an anthem and it's a classic and it's a thing that's going to continue to, last long. We're just expanding it. That's all. Just expanding that sound. That's it. That's it.
Keeping that brand going.
That's
UCB,
it.
We still here. Shout
Still
out to
here.
guys that couldn't make it today, but we're going to crank up today, right?
I'm about to say that. I know people, they're like, okay, can you stop talking by now? All right, UCB is going to hit the stage in just a minute. Stay right here.
Yes, sir.
We are UCB Live. Name of the song is called Paradise. Featuring UCB. Take a breath of fresh air. Look into the clouds, I can take you there. High like the mothers, you're my type is rare. What's your paradise? A fantasy of a better life. Take a breath of fresh air. Look into the clouds, I can take you there. High like the mothers, you're my type is rare. What's your paradise? A fantasy of a better life. I can take you there. You ain't got to worry about the troubles, my dear. Close your eyes, baby, have no fears. Picture us, we that perfect pair. And you ain't worried about a thing. You're living like a queen. Rose petal bubble bath massages on the beach. I got your favorite drink, I got your favorite meal. Candlelight dinner, sunsets up off that hill. And you gon' put your best dress on, we gon' party tonight. I'ma tell that DJ play that song in line. We gon' keep dancing till you're sweaty and tired. Cause I got enough energy to love you right. Cause you deserve it, girl, and I'ma give it to you. And you'll see all the man you need. We in another world, relax your body, boo. And you'll be in total ecstasy. Take up on the fresh air. Look into the clouds, I can take you there. I ain't like the others, you're my type is rare. What's your paradise? A fantasy of a better life. Take up on the fresh air. Look into the clouds, I can take you there. I ain't like the others, you're my type is rare. What's your paradise? A fantasy of a better life. Whoa, whoa, whoa. DMV. Whoa, yeah. UCB live. Whoa. Let's get it. Hey. Come on. Church of Joy, yeah. Say what? Oh, here we go. Playing with my feelings, playing with my soul. Come on. I can't let you go. Yeah. I just wanna be wanted and feel beautiful. If you don't know what you want, oh, let me be free. Don't make me love you. Yeah. Don't make my heart beat out of my chest. Don't make me love you. If you just want something else, don't leave me there. Yeah. If this ain't it, just tell me tonight. Don't make me love you. Uh-huh. If you just want something else. Hey. Hey. Do something from uptown all the way to that good south side. Party with that good VA. Maryland, we didn't forget about you. The UCB, come on, Treasure, sing it. I'm going on a drive. You're going on a drive, baby. Take a couple minutes to make up your mind. Oh, baby, I'll be fine. I'ma be okay. I'ma be fine, woman. Don't lose your place in line. If you don't know what you want, oh, let me be free. Sing it. Don't make me love you. Yeah. Don't make my heart beat out of my chest. Don't make me love you. Come on. If you just want something else, don't leave me there. Away. If this ain't it, just tell me tonight. Tell me tonight. Don't make me love you. Shout out to the Lorenzo. If you just won't change your mind, don't waste my time. That's what we talking about, Russ. with me, DC. Party with me, horse. Love that sound. Like thank my man Pep Toddy for bringing that amazing sound and set up today. WSA 9. We UCB live, baby. Shout out to my man Lorenzo. DC Lorenzo. That's right. All right, UCB Live, new single, y'all. Yes, indeed. We hope you enjoy this one. But look at here, look. They say he came out of nowhere. I'm like, oh well, today one snow well. I don't do it for a sport like Modell. I ain't never been into telling folk tales. It's rock Mikey, I never rode a coattail. I keep it lit, but I never leave a smoke trail. Used to get busy with the wholesale. Now I'm too legit to quit and take the gross sale. Shame on you folk that try to slander me. Or view me as the crow like Brandon Lee. I'm not that Mike, can't drive me to insanity. Essentially, I'm resilient, that's why they mad at me. On the second run, they couldn't fathom it. Some say it's too much, he couldn't handle it. How he gon' entertain and do management? I show him how to do it, rather tell him it. I acknowledge all the go-go stature, but don't you ever confuse me with a go-go rapper. Look, going against me is so backwards. I'm really where the madness live on. You can take advantage of if you don't stand strong. You get your life swiped if you playing wrong. We in the groove, baby, this ain't just a song. We in the city, so you know who putting on. I'm a man with a plan. Woke up this morning with the world in my hand. I don't give a damn. No, I don't. I don't give a damn. See, folks kept talking down. I still became the man. Pause. Play it. I love that sound, y'all. We got some dynamite horn players, y'all. Brad Dorn, Andre Lattimore. Hold it on, Scoop. Hold it down, Scoop. Woo. Do it for DC. Do it for Maryland. Do it for Virginia. Sound good, Chris? Do it for DC. Do it for Maryland. Do it for Virginia, y'all. Do it for DMV. It's UCB live all the way. You got a scoop. Hold it. We on the DCB, y'all. With my man Lorenzo Hall. We on that DCB, y'all. With Lorenzo Hall. You got a scoop. Hold it. Y'all ready? Shouts out to Lizzo. Shouts out to Take Keith. Yeah. Sexy ladies all over the world. Yes, indeed. We tell them roll with it. Roll with it. Let's go. Sexy lady. Hey. Give me your number, girl. We tell them roll with it, damn.
Sexy lady.
Y'all ready to have some fun?
Hey, I wanna rock your world.
We tell them roll with it, let's go.
Sexy lady.
So hands up, hey.
Give me your number, girl.
Roll with it, come on.
Sexy lady. Hands up, hey. I wanna rock your world.
Roll with it, yeah, I wanna hook up.
Put you on Saturday. I'ma come get you on Saturday. Maybe we can go catch a matinee.
Come on, roll. What?
I'ma come get you on Saturday. I'ma pick you up on Saturday. You can give me some pussy,
The DMV. Look, damn girl, you sexy as you want be. That mean walk, classy as you want be. That mean talk, sassy as you want be. See, I'm confronting you, so you ain't got to front on me. Girl, come with me, keep me company. You don't smoke and drink, alright? We can fun and freak. She said, okay, she digged up and the dog in me. Next thing you know, she down your boy pants, rubbing deep. Sexy lady, sex me, baby. Her head on her shoulders, plus her sex is crazy. I ain't in love like Jay-Z and Beyonce. Even though I treated to buy drinks and an entree. Take her to the room, tease her with the foreplay. She be calling me up when she horny. It's obvious I'm on the 9, she on me. I ain't Bobby B, but she could be my tenderoni. Hey!
Give me your number, girl.
Tell her roll with it, let's go.
Sexy lady.
Hey!
I wanna rock your world.
You tell her roll with it, rock scoop, roll with it,
On Saturday.
DMV, roll with it,
On Saturday.
DMV,
On Saturday.
bring them horns back one more time.
Hey.
Let me hear it, let's go horns.
Uptown, baby.
You tell them roll with it, come on horns, play it. Hey, DMV like this. One more time, let's go. Look, well, put your hands up and wave them like this. Put your hands up and wave them like this. Put your hands up and wave them like this. Wave them like this. Wave them like this, DC. Put your hands up and wave them like this. Put your hands up and wave them like this. Put your hands up and wave them like this. Wave them like this. Wave them like this. Yeah.
Thank y'all so much, WUSA 9. We are UCB Live on the DC beat with Lorenzo Hall.